Am I the asshole for refusing to have my facial scar photoshopped for the wedding? Me, F32, and my fiancé, M34. Aaron are getting married soon. We got done with wedding planning, although my future mother-in-law basically disagreed with every arrangement we had. This whole issue came up recently. Aaron and I were discussing the wedding photos, and my facial scar that I had in my early 20s came up. Aaron suggested that we have this area of my face, where my scar is located, photoshopped. I laughed thinking he was joking, but he said it was for real. I was taken aback, but he explained that this is what photoshopping is for and that these are wedding photos that last for years and he'd rather them be flawless. I looked at him and asked if he sees my face as a flaw. He immediately apologized and said absolutely not. It's just that all couples point out what should and should not be photoshopped to get the best wedding photos. He then admitted it was his mom's suggestion and he saw that she had a point this time. I refused and we began fighting. Aaron said that I was being a huge overreactor and that it's not about the scar itself, but the overall look of the photos, and I was being too sensitive for no reason. I had an argument with my future mother-in-law after she nicely tried to talk me into considering it. Most the women in the family agreed with her and Aaron and said this is what photoshopping is for, and lots of people do it because they're not happy with a certain area in their appearance. I told them I'm different because I'm not bothered by my appearance, nor do I want to change it for any reason or occasion for that matter. They went on to say I need therapy for me to cope with my past trauma, but I don't think my refusal has anything to do with it. Aaron is visibly upset with my response. He said he loves me no matter what, and I was ridiculous to be so hung up on this non-issue and holding it against him and his family who want what's best for me. I don't know if this is just my past insecurities popping up, and I'm not sure if I'm overreacting and getting offended for no reason. Not the asshole. This is my second Maya Angelou. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, post in 5 minutes. Not the asshole. I have massive scars in various places on my body and many of them are openly visible in my wedding photos. One of my in-laws made the same awful suggestion about Photoshop and my husband shut her down by pointing out we wanted the photos to be of us, not some perfect, unrealistic image of us. I'm so sorry your fiancé and his family are shallow enough to think that photos of you as you are aren't good enough. Have Aaron's asshole face photoshopped out of your photos and see if he likes how you fixed the flaws. Not the asshole. I was ridiculous to be so hung up on this non-issue. And #X200B. If it's such a non-issue, why doesn't he back down? He's the one hung up on it, not you. And #X200B. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Both Aaron and his mom are the asshole here. I am actually surprised you want to get married into a family that basically don't like how you look and want to change you, through Photoshop, and even saying you need to go to therapy? Holy moly, they sound like terrible people that simply want to control and change you into what they think is perfect. Not the asshole. Everyone else has said everything, but I am so caught up with the go to therapy for past trauma. I mean, the fact that you don't want to hide the scar would tell me you're pretty damn well over it and confident. Maybe they should go to therapy to get over your past trauma if they so damn worried about it. Addition. Cut your mill out of the planning of the wedding, if you still even want to marry this dude. It's your wedding, not hers. If your fiancé can't faux anything without his mommy there, it's another big red flag for your future. Photoshopping is for getting rid of a pimple that appeared on the wrong day, not changing how you actually look. Why would he want a photo from your wedding day with someone that doesn't actually look like his wife? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Maybe you should Photoshop Mill right out of the pictures. Fiancé is an asshole for not telling his mom to mind her own damn business. Am I the asshole for gifting my mom and her husband a book on cheating for their anniversary? I'm 16M. And I love my mom, 35. But when I was 10 she had an affair and left us. I visited her as often as I could and she always seemed so happy when I was there, but I hated her new family so I stopped visiting. Honestly, we rarely ever saw each other after, just for my birthday and events really. She wants us to be close, but I want nothing to do with her new husband, so I've kept my distance. Except on February 20th my dad announced he'd be out on business till the 12th and my grandparents are stuck visiting relatives in Italy, and so I really had nowhere to go and my mom jumped at the chance to have me stay with her. And just my luck that my mom's anniversary with her husband was on Sunday. I haven't had a good time here at all, so all I do is stay in my room doing homework or go out with friends to avoid family activities, cause it sucks seeing how lovey-dovey she is with her husband and how they seem like the perfect family with their daughters. The morning before her anniversary day she came to my bed and tried to cuddle with me like before she left us, but it made me angry, like we can't go back in time and pretend it's how it was. So I just pretended to be asleep and stayed curled up and frozen till she left. I started crying cause of that, and I felt angry and snarky, and my mom majored in literature, so I got her a copy of Anna Karenina for her anniversary. That book's about a lady who leaves her husband and son for her lover. I've never read it, but I watched the movie with my girlfriend and I hated it. The anniversary party was on Sunday. Everyone was having fun but me, and then people gave their gifts. I gave mine, and when my mom saw what it was she seemed shocked but just said thanks. The party ended like an hour after. But at night when she was in her room I heard her crying really loudly. So I kinda eavesdropped a little and heard her saying stuff about that book and me and her husband trying to calm her. The next day at breakfast she left for work early before I woke up, and her husband straight up called me an asshole and other stuff for gifting them that. It's been a few days now and my mom has barely talked to me. Honestly, I feel so wrong I made my mom cry, but at the same time I don't want to be here and she knows that, so am I really the asshole? Edit. Thankfully the mods have locked this. But to everyone who keeps DMing me, here's some facts to read before you do. I gave my mom the book to try and get it across to her that I hate being at her house and being around her family, and that it hurts me to be there because I sympathized with the son from the movie, not because I want a train to run her over. I do not want that to happen to my mom. I do not want my dad to get back together with my mom. He's happy with his fiancée. My dad has his reasons for not wanting me to go to therapy and is just being protective. Yes, I stopped visiting my mom cause I hate her husband, but she had custody of me on weekends or breaks. She could have forced me to be with her, but since being with him or making him be with us whenever I did go to her was more important, she never tried anything beyond the bare minimum of going to big events. Definitely not the asshole. For one, Anna Karenina is a classic and a great gift. For another, if the shoe fits. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. My dad cheated on my mom when I was in high school and went on to marry the woman he had an affair with. It has changed my relationship with my dad forever, especially because he tried to force the one big happy family thing with her and her kids as soon as he sold our family home and moved in with her. Your mom does not get to force herself back into your life on her terms. The cuddles. To make herself feel better and in the process making you feel worse. My dad did the same and it's awful. You are not a teddy bear. She needs to recognize the lasting damage she's done and stop expecting you to fit the role she's assigned to you in her head. I'm gonna get downvoted like a MF. It sucks when parents divorce, and it really sucks when infidelity is the culprit. She left her marriage and you in arguably the worst kind of way, and it doesn't sound like anyone bothered with family therapy to help you out. It was also 6 years ago. And it sounds like your mom can't ever do anything to have a relationship with you again? How long are you going to punish her? But again, she punished you when she left like she did. The whole thing just sucks all around. Of course you are the asshole. You were trying to be ta. I don't understand this post. You were trying to hurt her. You succeeded. What are you asking? Not the asshole. That is delightfully petty. But do yourself a favor and get therapy before you are consumed by your anger towards your mother. You never have to forgive her, but learn to move past what happened and not obsess over it. Anna Karenina is about a woman who, at 19, married a guy nearly twice her age whom she didn't love but who refused to give her a divorce. She eventually ran off with the guy she loved, but without the blessing of their community or the right to see her child. She ended up feeling so isolated, shunned, and trapped that she killed herself. I'm not sure Anna Karenina is the indictment of cheating that your mom and people here are acting like it is. Not the asshole. This made me chuckle. Plus wanna add, don't listen to YTA. A lot of these commenters have a habit of giving moms a pass that they wouldn't give to dads when it comes to affairs. Obviously your mom's actions have hurt you, and the gift you chose was clearly with spite or revenge on your mind. From that perspective you chose extremely well, but it was still in poor taste. Your parents appear to have let you down by not finding a counselor or therapist for you. The hostility you hold toward her isn't healthy. When your dad gets back, discuss this with him. You may not like this situation, with good reason. But you still need to learn how to cope with it in a way that doesn't gnaw at you. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my friends use my owl as a ringbearer in their wedding? I am a falconer and perform in falconry shows with my owls. There is some debate in the community over owls being used, but it has gained a lot of traction over the years, and I find my owls are easier to manage for me personally than my other birds were. My friend is having a Harry Potter-themed wedding and is begging to have me work with one of my owls to have the ring flown down the aisle to them, bringing up how well trained they are and how it will really sell the moment. Now, in theory this could be done after all 9 times out of 10 they'll do exactly as I want. It's just the one time I'm worried about, and I don't exactly want to take that risk with wedding rings. I explained my concerns to my friend and said it wasn't a risk I'd advise they take. I offered as an alternative me coming with all my owls and helping them and the guests take pictures with them and maybe even do a little brief flying show as a gift to them. My friend is upset with me, saying she has seen how well I've trained them and has complete confidence they won't mess up, and how this would be such a huge thing for the wedding. It's their risk to take, I guess, but I ain't just not entirely comfortable with this. Am I the asshole for saying no? Should I just agree but stress that if a fuck up happens it's not on me as I warned them? Not the asshole. There's an old saying, if in doubt, don't. This applies here. You are under no obligation to agree to their request for whatever reason. Simply decline. If they can't accept it and your friendship suffers, then they weren't as good of a friend as you thought they were. They should respect your decision instead of being upset with you. Not the asshole, but maybe just use a fake ring instead. That way if anything goes wrong just laugh it off and whip out the real ring. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Not the asshole, they are your birds and you care for them. They are also animals, not props. All that being said, intelligent people at weddings do not use the actual rings for such times. Kids drop them, don't perform in front of others as expected, and many other things happen that would cause something valuable and precious, pun intended, from not being available at the proper moment. So, if your primary concern is losing the rings, make sure that the best man has the real ones on his wand. Maybe why he'd be called the best man law. Nah. Feel free to say no, and they are free to ask. It's just the one time I'm worried about and I don't exactly want to take that risk with wedding rings. Is your concern really only about the rings? I agree that the owls shouldn't take the real rings. Trying to untie anything from the owl's leg will take longer than they suspect. Having the groom or someone pocket the rings and pretend to get them from the owl is a smoother transition. Not the asshole. Speaking as a wedding celebrant, and part-time owl enthusiast, I get anxious when dogs are acting as ringbearers because no matter how well trained they are, there's always some scope for things to go wrong. See the time I was attacked because the bride and groom were crying and I was picked out as the responsible party by a perfect German shepherd in a veil and tiara. The scope for things to go wrong with something that has wings and talons is wider. It also seems like a weird, stressful environment for the owl to be in, even outdoors, and the alternative you offered sounds extremely generous. Info. How happy would the bride be if an owl shit on her dress? Not the asshole. But if you decide to do it anyway, have them both sign something saying they have been warned of possible risks and that you will not be held responsible if something happens to the rings. Not the asshole, you know best about how to handle the owls. However, it's such a cool idea. Why not put the rings in a distinctive box or bag and make a matching dummy container for the owl to actually carry? Then a quick sleight of hand at the other end and the real box is pulled out and traded from a pocket or somewhere in the owl stand or wherever makes sense. That way, no risk to owl or rings and you still get a great show. Am I the asshole for firing our family therapist after she thought my son was a gangbanger? I have a 11-year-old son who had a traumatic event happen a couple of years ago. He didn't show any signs of being messed up. Actually, he was his normal self. With his starting middle school, my ex and I decided to do family therapy with him. To be honest, it was more about his mom, but whatever. After 6 months of therapy, the therapist told us that she was concerned over something my son said. A million things ran through our heads. She tells us that he's joined a street gang. She said it was hard to believe, but the gang had a name and everything. First off, our son is 11 and still plays with action figures. He's barely 4.5 feet. We thought it was a joke. She said the name was N. I sort of lost it and said N stands for Andrew, Nick and Dashiell. That's him and his best friends. They use that name when they do co-op gaming. I told her that if this is what she got out of months of therapy, our son is a gangster, then we're not wasting our time. I told my ex she is free to do it all she wants. Now the therapist is backtracking and insisting that it's not what she meant and we were making good work together. My ex agreed. Edit. She's not young either. She's in her 50s. Edit. Another thing I overlooked was that my son was never going to open up with a female the way he'd open up with a male. I feel bad about that, but next time I'll be more selective if he needs therapy. Edit. The therapist was an MFT. Edit. We did not do therapy afterwards because he had to do invasive interviews with police detectives and forensic psychologists. It was never ending. The person just ended up pleading guilty. And that person was a female. Edit. For clarity, the whole idea of therapy was something his mom wanted to assuage her fears that he was going to have some meltdown as he entered the turbulent puberty years. The therapy was about her. Neither me nor my son were invested in it. He was never going to talk to her or his mom about what happened. If they tried, he'd shut them down. He's asked me questions and told me things here and there. All it ever came down to was talking about daily stuff because nothing of significance was ever brought up. Edit. A bit of background. My ex and I had 50-50. This thing happened at her house with her roommate. Long story short, and after CPS got involved, I got full physical custody and my son visits her twice a week. She wanted the therapy to build up a case to go back to 50-50. I'm not opposed, but that's up to the courts. Lol. Usually I'm ready to mouth off at a parent who wants to override the trained therapist, but clearly this therapist person is an idiot. Not the asshole. I wouldn't put my kid in the hands of an idiot. Ha ha ha, your son is running organized crime rings in Minecraft. But seriously, I think your therapist might be out of touch. Or she is a rival gangbanger. I can't decide which seems more reasonable. Not the asshole. Anyone who doesn't clarify what a client says before telling their parents their child has joined a street gang is someone who shouldn't be a therapist. Not the asshole. She realized she was going to lose a client and backtracked. It may have been an honest misunderstanding, but the fact that she felt the need to address it with you instead of talking to your son is inept. Not the asshole. Just gonna guess here. Is your son's skin tone perhaps on the darker side, or was she just assuming on the basis of the presence of someone named Dashiell? Because this sounds racist as fuck. Not the asshole, and this is really bad. Really bad. NTA. Not all therapists are good. However, you had reasons to start this. I'd suggest to find another one, and gave it a shot. However, if a similar story repeats, then you will have to wonder why. Some therapists simply are bad. But some children who felt to be forced in therapy just try to twist stories sometimes. NTA. The therapist only backtracked because they realized they are losing you as a client with this.